Hey y'all, I'm Alexis Peterson,
Hey y'all, I'm Aisha Sheppard.
and this is
Off the
Off
court,
the Court
on the record.
on the Record. Cool. So let's get into it.
Introducing yourself and like your story, what you want to share, and kind of like a little tidbit of your journey, and then I could do the same.
Yeah, okay. So I got started in Columbus, Ohio, where I was born and raised to age 5. I started playing basketball at the Y. I played with boys up until the time that I was 10 years old. And that's when I first started playing with girls. So a lot of my like competitive edge and like underdog mentality came because I was playing with boys, and like, boys don't give girls anything easy. So yeah, I went to Columbus Northland High School. And then from there, received a scholarship, went to Syracuse University for 4 years. And that was 2013 through 2017. In 2017, I was then drafted to the Seattle Storm. And I've been playing professionally since 2017. 8 years later, here we are.
I could see that you've been playing against boys for a while too. Like I could tell in
Or
your game, yeah. Like you can always tell the hoopers that used to like grow up playing against dudes because you just got a different kind of game. But no, same. I grew up in Northern Virginia. My first year in high school, I went to school in Virginia, and then I switched to a high school in DC. I graduated and went to Virginia Tech for 5 years, but I was able to watch Alexis play a lot. She was somebody I looked up to. Syracuse was actually on my top 5 before I chose Virginia Tech, so I did know a lot about you, which is crazy. This whole thing is like so full circle because
yeah,
I
right.
first met you at training camp with the Aces, and we instantly had a bond. Like it was kind of crazy, but like we instantly, had like a connection. And to be here now is so dope. Um,
Mhm.
I'm starting my, well, I'm actually about to end my 3rd year overseas, so it's kind of going by quick. But
Yeah.
both of our journeys have been interesting. A lot of ebbs and flows.
Crazy. Yeah. I want to touch on what you said, like how we actually like officially met in training camp. That was my first time in training camp in 4 years, which was your second year. Yeah, so I hadn't been to a training camp in 4 years, and I think, like you said, like we connected instantly, and I think I saw like a lot of myself in you, like going back that second year, trying to make the team. You came on a team that like was championship bound like right away. So like that's a different kind of monster. And my situation was kind of similar. Like I came into a team that had Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, Alicia Clark, Crystal Lang, like all these like big names, on a very heavily loaded team. So trying to find that balance is very hard. So I've seen a lot of that when we met, when we were in training camp. And I think that's why we connected, because I had been there and like understood what it's like trying to make that team. Even though you've been there, you just won a championship with that team, it really doesn't matter. And I know we'll get into all that later, but
No, yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. This is a full circle moment for sure.
no, it really is. And I think I leaned on you a lot too because you have that like leadership presence. Like, even though, in my opinion, I'm looking at you as the vet, like we both were in the same situation, but you had this calmness about you. Like, if I make the team, it don't really matter to me. Like, I'm still a hooper. Like, very confident in yourself. So I
Yeah.
was appreciative of just being around that, and I was in a situation where I knew it was going to be tough to make the team, but I didn't really understand everything that went into training camp and the W and all that because everything kind of hit me so fast. And the first 2 years of my career, year ish, was like it was all a blur in my opinion. But
Yeah.
going back into that training camp, being around Candace and Asia and Kelsey and all them. It was just like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, like you said, like I think a lot of my accomplishments, that was like I told you, 4 years. Like I had a 4 year gap. So 2017, I'm in Seattle. I'm there, made the team, played that full season. That fall, I'm overseas, and our head coach during the season had got fired. My first time ever experiencing a head coach getting fired. So we have a new coach that basically took over in the off season, and he calls me. He's like, "Yeah, like I like what you did. Like I'm looking forward, to next year, just going into 2018." 2018 rolls around. I get a call, and they're like, "You can come to training camp, but you don't have a chance of making the team."
dang,
And I was like, what? Like, I'm not going to fly all the way out to Seattle from Ohio for nothing. Like, they was like, but we can let you go so you can possibly get picked up somewhere else. And that like shook my world. Like, that was really like my first introduction to what this was really about. Like, we see the glitz and the glamour and, all that, but a lot of people don't get those raw like WNBA experiences, those moments. And for me, that was like my eye-opening moment. Like, okay, this is bigger than basketball sometimes. So 18, I went to Indiana. 19, I was in Phoenix, and then 23, that was the year that I went to Las Vegas, and that's when we met. So it had been 4 years. I had been playing pro for a while now, so I had enough experience in those environments to know that it's not about me. It's not about performative. It's not about being performative. It's not about anything. It's so much bigger, and I know we're going to touch on a lot of that. I can't wait. But yeah, so a lot of that like experience allowed me to come into that situation 4 years after my last experience in the training camp, and just know like I know what I do, and it's not about necessarily being accepted in this space, because I'm sure of who I am, what I do, and how I do it. So
no, for
I'm
real.
here, yeah, accepting the opportunity.
Those are and that's I feel like that's the main premise of like why we wanted to start this podcast because I feel like a lot of things are happening right now where everybody's getting podcasts and everybody's talking about the glitz and the glamour, like you said, the unrivaled and athletes unlimited and all these new
Yep.
teams coming to the W, which we commend all of that. Like at the end of the day, we want basketball, women's basketball to grow. But our stories are so important to what's going on right now that it's like Alexis Peterson would be Caitlin Clark, would be Angel Reese with like NIL deals and having those
Oh,
opportunities to not even
yeah.
maybe you wouldn't have had to go overseas. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Maybe you would
Mhm.
still be in the league, you know? So I
Yeah.
commend you for how resilient you are through all of that
Thank
because I don't know what I would have done if
you.
I had to sit out a whole 4 years from like not even getting a call from the league, nothing. And I know the work that you've been putting in. I mean, you're an Olympian, so like nobody handed you that. You know what I'm saying? So because I know I was broken. I was
Mhm.
broken when the Aces gave me. Like
Yeah.
it was rough. It was a rough time.
Yeah, I know, and I know it was, and I think that's why I like really made it a point to like reach out to you, because I know what that first experience is like when you've played on a team and you've done a year with them, and then your whole world is kind of like turned upside down like in moments, and like it's unexplainable, and everybody tells you, oh, it's okay, like it's a part of it, they tell you we can't keep everybody and we really love you, and they feed you all these things, but at the end of the day it's like, how do I put together like the pieces of my confidence again? Like, how do I stand in like assurance that this is my purpose, and when I'm starting to question everything, and I could see that, and I've been there, and I experienced that, and I feel like even if I don't make this team, maybe I'm here to meet somebody like you who is now getting ready to face the same thing that I faced 6 years ago, 5 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't think that's by coincidence or happenstance. Like, I think all of this was, for a greater purpose, and that's why it was so important to me to like connect with you, keep you encouraged, because you just starting your journey, and I know there's so many people like when they have those moments, they're like, I can't do this no more, like they give up on it, and it's like, no, you just starting, you a WNBA championship champion at the end of the day, and nobody can ever take that away from you. Yeah, no, but I think that is something like you said, why we need this podcast, why we need the platform to be able to share like the raw truths. Because for me, I was embarrassed for a little bit. You know, I felt like I failed. I felt like a failure for a while. Like it was really hard for me to swallow, but now it's like I didn't fail. That just wasn't my time, wasn't my opportunity. And I'm sure there's so many other players who have been cut from overseas teams or WNBA teams or had these same experiences and they feel like they failed, but they haven't. You know, it's only that's only a moment. It does not define you.
And I feel like this day and age in social media, like that's what they kind of write you off as. Oh, she got ways. She just not good enough. She's not a good player. But I promise you, if you and I were able to be on some of these platforms, the whole world would see we the truth in real life. Like I be talking to my fiance and my family all the time. I'm like I meet some overseas hoopers that's really like that.
That get to it. That get to it. That get to it.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that everything happens for a reason, and like
Yeah.
you said, it's a process. And I've had the pleasure of reintroducing me to me,
I like that. I
and
like that.
I've really been in my bag, like, but
Hmm.
on the side of mental health.
Can
Because,
you explain that? Like, can you get into that a little deeper? Like, cause I really, really like that. Cause that's fire.
thank you, thank you. I just when I'm very spiritual, so when I'm going through something heavily, like these are the things we're gonna get into, of course, in the next episode. But the past 3 years of me playing over here, I've gone through a lot. Like living
Mm.
in mold, to not getting all of my money, to having to sue people, to leaving teams in the middle of the season, and just having like these ups and downs, but really more lows than highs. And I really had
Yeah.
to sit down and get back to the base of who I am, which is by Christianity. And God really sat me down and was like, "What is it that you think I want you to be doing?" And I really had to
Ooh.
listen to him and really understand that it's like I'm putting you in these situations for you to understand that these gifts that I gave you don't are not for free. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
that I give you is always to benefit somebody else so that I can get the glory.
Mm.
You understand that? Like he puts you in situations so that he gets the glory at the end of the day. Like I really had to sit back and be like, okay, God, I hear you. I understand
Yeah.
you're here on a mission.
Yeah.
I need
Come
to let
on.
you speak and work through me. And I know that when that door does open for the goals that I really want, I'm going to kick it down and be so
Kick
right
it down. Come on,
in that
preach.
moment. Like, I just can't wait because I've been really grinding and working on me. And I love
Hmm.
where I am right now because old Asia would have been folded. She would have been done.
Yeah.
She would have been like, I can't take no more. Because I feel
Yeah.
like I'm the type of person that I've always been given the short end of the stick. But when you turn that around and flip
Mm.
it to like, make it positive, make it work for you,
Yeah.
then it changes your whole everything. So that's what I've been on for the past year. And especially now, this little last bit of Turkey, um, I really understand my journey and where I need to be. And it's always that uh, I'm always in situations where I'm connecting with people, but there's always a reason why I am where I am.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
always to touch and connect with other people, especially in different
Yeah.
cultures. Because the one thing that I know that everybody can say about me, regardless of a basketball, is that Aisha Sheppard is a great
Hmm.
person and Aisha
Hmm.
Sheppard is a hard worker. And as long as those
Yeah.
things follow me wherever
That's
I
so
go,
true.
I have done my job.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And I feel like you still so early. Like I love that we are getting a chance to do this because we live the same life, but we're in different places in like our professional careers and like I told you, I see so much of myself in you and like these experiences that I've had in year 8, you're having in year 3, going on year 4 or whatever. And it's really the journey, and I really appreciate what you said about like getting back to like yourself. And I feel like I've had a similar experience this year where I feel like God kind of sat me down to like really mold me in a way that I haven't been molded before. Like this is the first year I've faced like severe money issues with a team. This is the first year I've had to leave a team middle of the season while injured. And if that isn't something that requires like a different level of faith, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, like you're injured and you decide to leave a team, so you have no job, you're injured, and you're basically like past square one. Like I'm like literally like, -1 at this point. So, and it required a different level of faith to trust that, like, for whatever reason, this 8th year, God needed me to get something, to hear something, to, experience something like this to shape my character, to make me appreciate the journey more. Because when I was injured, the only thing I wanted to do was get back. And I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in the negativity or like the stress that we start to take for granted, like just the opportunity to be able to lace up, just the opportunity to go to practice. Like I miss the everyday routine. I miss just going to the gym. Like the things that I would complain about, I felt bad once I was injured. And I was like, maybe I needed a year like this to really remind me who I am in Christ, and also why I am doing what I'm doing and why I'm on this journey and why it's so important. And like you said, just being able to connect with people. This came in the midst of all of that, and I really feel like it was God's way of saying, see, like I was working all this together. I had all these pieces moving. You couldn't see it at that time, like when I was going through what I was going through, but I mean, this coming out of all of that and having your troubles and the things that you were experiencing at the same time, and like we were like, we got to speak out, we got to do something, we got to put action, we need a voice. And this coming from that off the court on the record is like a huge blessing. And if that's all that I was supposed to get from this, to be able to help somebody, and I always say it's always been bigger than me, I truly see that now. And I'm just so appreciative of this like space, this opportunity. And although this has been the hardest year I've had overseas, I think it's going to end up being one of the biggest blessings that I could have encountered for my growth and for my career.
Man, I can feel that.
Yeah.
I felt that. I know my breakthrough is coming.
It's coming. It's coming. I could jump. I could
Man,
jump. It's coming.
because like
Yeah.
when you're a good steward over the things that God gives you, and you're always humble. I know I can tell we both do it. Like whenever we get tagged on something on Instagram, or people are saying congrats about something, or we have a good game, the first thing we do, no matter what, is always give honor and glory to God. So
Always.
when
Always.
you're a good steward over the things that He gives you, that
Hmm.
return is something that you can't even imagine. So
That's right.
it's
That's right.
it's on the way, and shout out
It is.
to Shelly for making this super easy on us. She's been doing an amazing job with the behind the scenes stuff for off the court on the
Yeah.
record. Like we got some really good stuff for y'all coming, and we are super excited to continue this journey and just be open and honest and candid about
Yeah.
what we've been going through.
Yeah. It's time to speak on it. Everybody wants to speak.
Let's go, man.
This is the
Everybody get
platform to speak on it.
a lot of guests on as well. Bring in a lot of people that we know are going through some of
Yeah.
the similar situations. But
Yep.
the landscape of overseas in general is just about to change, though, with everything that's going on. Y'all aren't going to see a lot of the same people, stars that you used to see coming over here anymore,
Yep.
because of those opportunities. So a lot of things are going to change, and I'm like in the thick of it because my career is just starting out. But like, what do you think about that? How has overseas changed as your career has been?
Wow, a lot. I've seen, like you said, just like players naturally retiring, changing teams, deciding not to come back overseas or sticking with one country over another. The economy is changing a lot. There's a lot of moving parts. Certain countries that were previous like hot spots, maybe financially or talent wise, are starting to fall off a little bit. I just had this conversation with my fiance actually, and I was saying, I think with Unrivaled coming into the picture now, the whole landscape is about to change. Like, I think the dynamic as we know it now will be completely different. And I'm gonna give it 2 years. I'm gonna give it 2 to 3. I said next year, but I'm gonna give it 2 to 3 because I think Unrivaled is fantastic. I think what they have done, what they have created, they've done it right. They absolutely got it right. I'm obsessed with it.
Me
And
too.
I think that is go. I'm so obsessed. Like I literally, I wake up. I'm like, all right, let me go watch the Unrivaled games back. Like,
Period.
cause this is bomb. This is
Yes.
bomb. Like I love it. But I told her, I was like, everything is about to change because there's the AU Pro, NBA, and now Unrivaled. And all want is to play and get paid and compensated and be in a professional environment. And I feel like Unrivaled has just set the standard. They have set the bar so high that in the foreseeable future, I do not see WNBA players coming overseas anymore, which will change things a lot.
They gonna be in Miami chilling with
What?
the best therapy, best. I mean, shout out to Fee and Stewie for checking
Yeah,
every box. Like they
literally.
left no stone unturned. Like I mean, it's unbelievable. Like shout out to
Yeah, no,
them.
it's incredible.
Yeah, they are the blueprint now at this point. Like I know the W is trying to do some stuff, but they need to go ahead and hire.
And whoever they use, y'all need to use.
Period.
Because the way that like it was planned, plotted, executed, chef's kiss. Like
Like
that, like you said, that is the blueprint. And I think that now is going to draw so many. Like I can see the expansion of it. I was calling, I was like, they're about to expand. They're going to get more investors. They're going to have like be able to do a longer season. Like I was like, so many things. Like I was excited. Like I'm like, how do I get on board? How do we get something like this like going? Like that's it.
numbers.
That's it.
And I was even thinking, I'm like, I do wonder what's gonna kind of happen to Athletes Unlimited now too. Like I know people will still be able to play, but it's kind
Yeah.
of very similar to like venue and style of play a little bit, and kind of how
Right.
it's more so player led. Now, of course, Unrivaled has actual coaches, like very well versed coaches, but it still seems like it's more player led as far as the things that are taking place on the court. And I just really wonder how the two are going to kind of coincide together because I love
Yeah.
both concepts. I mean, the more the
Right.
merrier to keep us at home and safe and healthy. Um, because not the biggest dynamic that I feel like people don't really think about is we're playing in these different countries that could very well possibly go to war at any point with another country. So it's like, for example, Israel. Like we got friends.
I've experienced it. Been
That's
there.
man, like
Trapped in a war, 2021,
that
for
ain't
2 weeks.
bro. Like
For 2 weeks.
that's real. Like that is real. And
Yep.
I mean, I would love to be able to stay home, and I would love if the W obviously is everybody's dream. Like when our brothers wanted to play, they wanted to go to the NBA or whatever
Right.
league that you knew. It's the same for
Yeah.
us. When we grow up, we want to
Yeah.
be the W. You know what I'm saying? So that's always going to be my dream. Prayerfully, things will open up to the point where we have as much access to it as they do on the men's side. But until
Yeah.
then, I love that the opportunities are coming about to where, we may not have to be over here. But we don't always have those opportunities. So again, that's why this podcast is so
Yeah.
important because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that don't get seen that are doing great work over here on top teams. I
Hmm.
mean, you've played in it
Hmm.
before. Euro League is just as good as WNBA,
Yes.
in my opinion.
It really is.
More
It
for-
really is. It really is. I mean, like you said, I think even going back to piggyback off what you said, like you've met some players that before coming overseas, you may not have known their name, and then you play and you see them, you like, yo, like, have you ever played in a W? Like, have you like, you're a dog, like, like you really get to it. And I had that same eye opening experience where I was like, man, like there's some players over here that I had no idea who they are, had no, nothing, no, nothing about them. But you see like the talent that is over here that will never grace the WNBA, that will never get like those opportunities to even just showcase what they can do stateside. And I think, like you said, that's why we are so important because we need to be able to share our stories, and not just our stories, but athletes similar to us who go through the same thing, same struggles, basically like that underdog mentality, been in it, just like those ebbs and flows, and just highlight some of those things. And I think really build a community of like support because we are over here sometimes alone and it gets hard, and we need a home away from home. We need that community. There's strength in numbers, and we're all bonded on the same thing. And I think if we can build that, that'll be a beautiful thing.
This is definitely going to
Yeah.
be an open forum. We want everybody to tap in. We want everybody to give us any questions that y'all have,
Yes.
any comments, any suggestions to who y'all want us to get on the podcast. Because I think this can be really really good for just the
Yep.
community overall. And of course, this is only building more hype and more anticipation around women's basketball
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
It's only up from here for everybody. So
That's it.
um,
That's it. Off the court on the record. It's time to talk about it.
that's it, man. I'm ready.
Yeah.
At some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
all of these athletes that are doing Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited had to come through overseas first. And I feel like with me going into year 4, and you said 8 years, right?
Going on year 9.
Going
This will
into
be, I'm finishing year 8 right now.
yeah,
This fall will be year 9.
yeah. So like the fact that we have, you know, I'm I'm damn near 4 years behind you. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna cover a lot of bases of like you playing against
Yeah.
people who are now retired, about to retire. You're still playing. I'm going with that class of like the people who had an extra year because of COVID, and then the class after me, the NIL stuff happened. So
Yeah.
we have different takes on everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I think we cover like I said, like we have the same journey, same experience, but like we're on different sides of it. Like the things that I've seen and like the older, I guess, generation sounds crazy. Sounds crazy. Like I'm feeling old. Like I'm feeling real old. But like I have to realize like yeah, I was in that era and like you are in that like younger generation where it's like we are living through like the same experiences now, but from two different lenses.
Yeah,
So it's affecting and shaping us
yeah.
differently because we're at different points in our career. But that's going to be like the beautiful thing about all this is like we're here, but like everybody is somewhere in between or on one side or another. And how do we get those perspectives out?
No,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's gonna be fine.
Because I was thinking like you said you graduated from Cuse in 2017, so you got
Hmm.
drafted. But I'm sure like majority of the dogs that you play with that also got drafted with you had to go overseas. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking about my class like Belle, she didn't go. Um, there's some other people. Zaya Cook, she didn't go. Like I'm just trying to think. There's some people in my class that didn't even go their first year. Now they didn't go back to the league. Destiny Henderson, for example, we was the same class. She didn't go. She thought she was going to go back to Indiana. She got a whole apartment out there and everything, and then they waived her, and then she had to come overseas. So last year was her first year in Turkey with me, with Antalya. I told you how that went. We both was in the same
yeah.
boat, but um, it's just
That's so
it's so
crazy.
crazy.
Man, it's just like I can't wait to get into it because it's just like I feel like I look at people that come out and like I wonder if they know like I don't ever want to downplay it. I don't ever want to like just have this negative like connotation that's out there, but like I also wish that somebody would have told me like the reality and how things actually work, like the reality of it, that like they may sit here and you may make the team this year and then they may tell you the next year like we wish we could keep everybody, but there's not a real reason. So you get invested in thinking like once I made the team one year, I made it, I'm safe, I'm good. But that's not the reality. Or I got drafted and it feels like job's done, dream came true, but that's the only, I won't even say half the battle. That's just the beginning. Like that's not even half of what you're actually about to experience when you enter that realm and that world. And I think about players coming out now, and I'm like, I wonder if they. I hate it because it's like I've seen it like shape people's career to where they don't even try again, or they go overseas. It's not for them one year and then they're done, completely. And I feel like it's such a harsh reality. We're so young, we're so impressionable coming out, and we're so like bright eyed and bushy tailed, like when the WNBA is running around, because it's something that we've dreamt about for so long, and then we had to hit this like reality of like, okay, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. And I don't mean to say that and paint it in a negative light, but it is the reality that a lot of people face. A lot of people endure. You hear stories all the time. Well, she didn't make the team until she went to 5 or 6 training camps. It took her 6, 7 years. Not for lack of talent. It's just so many other moving pieces that I can't wait to touch on and share some of my own personal stories that go on behind the scenes that can stop somebody from ever making a team, or will make it to where it took them 5, 6, 7 years to finally get on a roster and stick. So I
A lot of
mean,
a lot of things that people really don't understand, especially these fans. Like, we love the support that we get, but some of these people are very uninformed, and y'all really don't know or understand that these things are predetermined. So they may
yeah,
invite us to camp, but they already know you're gonna get cut. A lot of times you're just the extra body. We gonna get into it for sure because the misinformation that's going around is insane. We gonna touch on it though. On it.
clock it. I can't wait. I can't wait till we get to that episode. I can't wait.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
People need to know it's predetermined. We just another body.
Woo, I can't wait to share.
Clock it.
Yeah, clock it. Can't wait. I can't wait to say the stuff that I've been told. Yeah, we trying to keep it cute, but also raw and honest.
Not for real. Yeah.
All right. I think that's great for episode 1.
We need